Welcome to the SBR NHL Double Play, the play of the day video for Thursday, January the 16th. I'm Ian Cameron with Adam Booth, and you're looking at a couple of red-hot play of the day pickers right now. We have been on a nice run this week with videos, looking to keep it going. I think we're off back-to-back, maybe even 3 in a row, 2-0 sweeps. So we're looking to keep it going here on this Thursday card. Again, a great assortment of games to check out. Make sure you're checking out as well all the NHL content that SBR provides at sbrvideo.com/NHL. That is, you can find all picks, daily articles from Adam, Jimmy Murphy, and others talking NHL from a betting perspective, writing, I should say, about NHL from a betting perspective. /NHL. Adam, let's get to it. Your game is the Columbus Blue Jackets hosting the Carolina Hurricanes. We've got Columbus, courtesy of SBRodds.com. Make sure that you are checking that website out every day for the best sports betting odds page on the planet. I mean, you need to be using it to get the best number and price available with each bet. Right now, currently, we've got the Carolina Hurricanes in this game, right about -130 to -135 road favorite. The total 5.5 shaded to the under. The Columbus Blue Jackets have been the ultimate, team of resilience, team of guts and heart and grit, and stick-to-itiveness. Just find a way to get things done with the amount of key contributors that remain out of the lineup for this team, particularly up front. Heck, even the blue line's not been spared from injury. Coogan and Ryan Murray that are out of action as well. But mostly it's been the forward group that has really been ravaged by injuries. Good news for Columbus is one of those key forwards, and arguably one of their best, not arguably, he is one of their best forwards. Cam Atkinson is going to be returning to the lineup for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Not a moment too soon for this team, of course, with all the injuries they've dealt with. Elvis Merzlikins' confidence continues to go up with each start. He's been great, coming off a shutout win on Tuesday night against the Boston Bruins, 3-0. He's been really good, and I didn't see this coming, Adam. This was a guy that could barely, in the moments he got in between the pipes with Joonas Korpisalo as the number one goalie until he got hurt. And then all of a sudden he gets this opportunity to be the number one guy because of the injury to Joonas Korpisalo, and he looks like a completely different goalie. A different level of confidence, different level of ability, tracking pucks better. His rebound control has improved incredibly from early on. He would just spit pucks back out into the slot area way too many times early in the season. He's really harnessed that recently. Credit to him, credit to the goalie coach that Columbus has to get that element of his game under control. So you got to give the guy a lot of credit. He's playing well in Columbus despite the injuries. They managed to keep their head above water. I think Adam likes them as a live home underdog tonight against Carolina. Adam, tell us why you like the Jackets.
Yeah, I was going to say, even while you're listening, you might want to take a look at the lines, try and get a bet in if you're thinking of taking the Jackets. In the last 20 minutes, the line dropped by, like 15, 20 cents. So if you were leaning that way and you want to join me on it, don't hesitate. I don't think it'll drop too much more. And I have the Jackets above 50%. So really, you're going to find value on them today, probably no matter what time. I don't think we're going to see them close at plus 100 or something like that. But that would be significant, and we should be happy about that if it does happen. But yeah, so the Jackets, you covered the situation with Merzlikins. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but we're going to go with that. I mentioned in the article, I was on the Jackets when he made his NHL debut, got 7 goals against the Penguins. And I remember the comments after that game very well. It was from Tortorella and a few of the leaders in the room just saying, it's a big issue. It's a big deal when a player gets his first start, but especially for a goalie, you never forget your first game. And so to sort of be devastated like that, but he is the number one guy with Korpisalo out, and he is delivering mightily. I mean, when a player posts back-to-back shutouts and he's a rookie, I think they said this is – I forget how many players have done this, but it's very, very rare to be able to have a feat like that. So full marks to him and full marks to the Jackets defense. Over the last 10 games, they're averaging under 2 goals against per game, which is great because they're still not averaging 3 goals for, but they have been a lot. I mean, since I think it's the last 15, 17 games, something like that, they've got points in 90% of their games. I think they only have 2 regulation losses. So they are playing well. And that is why this line seems off. I get that the Carolina Hurricanes, better team on paper, they haven't been playing that poorly. And they, while they did lose the first 2 meetings against the Jackets, very tight games that could have gone either way. And again, you have to, be aware that just because we're on the value side with, I do favor the Jackets slightly, it doesn't mean that Carolina can't pound them for 5 goals to 2 tonight or something like that. So we're banking on the value over the long term rather than this is the play of the day because it's absolutely going to win. But I think for most hockey bettors I test as well, you would say the value is with the Jackets. They are injured. They have been depleted. They've still without a number of their starting guys. I think if we look at, not to mention, I mean, obviously the starting goalie's out, but Bjorkstrand, Anderson, Texier, Murray, these are all starters that were on the starting 20 roster at the beginning of the season. Atkinson was upgraded to likely or probable to play today. But I mentioned to a buddy on Twitter just in the last hour, he doesn't do a ton for me. He's, got 20 points in 30 games this season. He hasn't had the type of season that he had, 2 years ago, or maybe it was last season as well, when Panarin was still on his line. This isn't the same Atkinson because he doesn't have that exceptional playmaker with him. But he's still going to be a slight upgrade. I'm just saying I'm not on the Jackets because he might play tonight. As for the Canes, they're healthy, and, they were shut out in the last one against the Capitals. Capitals just played a better game, a more energetic game. I thought that a lot of, one of the cliches is, the winning the puck battles. I didn't think the Canes came out with a lot of jump. When the Canes are playing well, they're able to outskate their opponent, and I didn't see that. I think it was the coach. I think it was Brindamore that mentioned this is the time of year when players are starting to deal with a little bit more fatigue, coming up to the All-Star break where they can sort of do some rest and recovery type, whatever over the break. So, so that's why I'm on the Jackets today. Huge value. I think it still has value. It'll have value all day. I don't see it going that much lower. But I think I've mentioned everything I wanted to say there, Ian.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's not no slight against Carolina. And it's funny because I know people gave you grief with the picking against Tampa Bay again with New Jersey and other games. And you're saying, how do you, I don't see them winning. Well, guess what, people? I got a rant here. There are always people that bother me sometimes when I'm going against the great team, the team that's on a run with a great record with a mediocre to bad team. And I always say to them that I don't see them winning is what they always say. I just don't see that happening. I don't see them winning. You know what I say to them? The absolute best teams in the NHL, do you know how many games they're going to lose? 25 to 30.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, exactly.
Games. And so, as long as you pick the right spots that they're going to lose those 25 or 30 games, go ahead and bet against those teams and don't be scared to do it. I don't want to hear this nonsense that, hey, there's no chance of that. I didn't see this coming. I don't think they have any chance to win. I don't see them winning this game.
Yeah.
The best teams are going to lose 25 games minimum every season. Don't give me this nonsense.
Absolutely.
You can bet against them. The value's there. The price is there. The spot makes sense. You bet against teams like that.
Absolutely, Ian. Absolutely. Well said. And I mentioned that, to somebody or in an article or something recently. I mean, I probably say it a lot as well. And we've been betting enough to know this happens in every sport. But the other thing to note is, you look at a team like Detroit, they're one of the least profitable teams this season. And yet they're one of my most profitable teams. I don't have the exact figures in front of me, but I looked at it a while back. And that's because, as you said, be selective and believe in your process. And again, with the Devils, I've had a bit of banter on Twitter regarding them recently. And again, they get the 2 wins as significant underdogs on back-to-back days on Saturday, Sunday. They get smoked by the Leafs, and now they're back to plus 230 or whatever, 250 again today, just because we have that game in between. I don't think they should be priced very close. I think that would be a huge error. But what I'm saying is, in the eyes of the betting community, it's, oh no, that was just a one-off game. The Devils couldn't possibly beat the Capitals again, and they probably will lose tonight. I think I have it, 66% for the Caps or something, but nowhere near the 75 or 80% that they're priced at the market. So again, it's you said it well, and I agree wholly. So
all right.
Yeah,
on we go to mine now. Yep.
Here
we go. Pittsburgh and Boston, one of the marquee matchups, actually, of the night. Penguins and the Boston Bruins. We've got right now Boston minus 125 to minus 130. Home favorites in this game, total 6. Slightly shaded to the under pretty much across the board in this one. I actually have 2 bets on this game, but decided to go with the total in this game from a play of the day standpoint because I do like this one quite a bit. Look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, and obviously everyone's talking about the return of Sidney Crosby, and just like Adam's not betting Columbus because Cam Atkinson's coming back, I'm not betting the over because this is solely because this is Sidney Crosby's second game back.
Going to cover the over on his own, yeah.
It's a lot more. Yeah, he was on his way to do it. He almost did it the other night against Minnesota with 4 points in that game, and I actually bet that game over the total as well, Penguins and 1. But I want to point out a concept that we've got going on here with Pittsburgh, and it's when you think about it from a human mentality standpoint, it makes perfect sense. Pittsburgh's built the foundation of winning games without Sidney Crosby on playing solid defense, getting good goaltending and timely scoring, not minding mucking it up and playing these lower scoring games. Well, guess what? The news about a week or a week and a half ago broke that Sidney Crosby started to skate again. He's on his way back to the lineup very soon. And at that moment, you can trace it right back to about a week and a half ago when Sidney Crosby started skating. Pittsburgh's getting excited. Wow, Sidney's coming back. Well, guess what? They're getting more antsy. They're getting more aggressive offensively. And guess what? Defensive game has declined during that span. You look at Pittsburgh, they've given up 3 goals at least in 4 straight games going into this matchup here against Boston tonight. And I watched a lot of that game against Minnesota. There are a lot of holes in that defense. And Minnesota, if not for the play of Tristan Jarry, they probably could have scored 4, 5, or 6 in that game, not just the 3 they got. And that's Minnesota's offense, by the way. Yeah. That's not a juggernaut by any stretch. It's almost like, guess what? Crosby's coming back, and now that he is back, we're going to be fire wagon. We're going to be really risk takers offensively at that end of the ice. And I think it's basically been at the expense a little bit of the defense that got Pittsburgh a lot of the wins that they got during the Sidney Crosby injury. So you're seeing an upgrade in their offense lately. They've been scoring goals in bunches lately. I've talked about how they've given 3 goals in 4 straight. Well, they've scored 4 or more in the majority of games recently. They're on, I believe, a 4-0 or 5-0. Let me get it correct here. 4-0 to the overstretch in their last 4 games. 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, and then the 7-3 victory against Pittsburgh. And they won all 4 games as well. So I think Pittsburgh's going to find the back of the net here because for Boston, Tuukka Rask injury the other night against Columbus. He got run over in that game. He's going to be out indefinitely. And Yaroslav Halak is not a bet on goalie right now, not even in the slightest. He had a nice little run early in the season. He has been dreadful in recent games. His goals against average has gone way up. His save percentage has fallen way down in recent games. He's actually really he's been giving up 3, 4, 5 goals repeatedly in recent starts. He's obviously forced into action tonight with Tuukka Rask injured. I think that's trouble for Boston defensively. I think Pittsburgh will light it up. On the flip side, I like good teams offensively off a shutout loss. I've said this many times, especially at home. A good team like Boston, a Bruins team that's still averaging just over 3 goals per game on home ice this year. I mentioned Pittsburgh's defensive play declining in recent games with Crosby back and the excitement and the aura surrounding Crosby coming back. That it's almost like, hey, we're going to pinch in at the blue line a little bit more. We're going to do some of these things that are a little bit more risky offensively because, we've got one of the best players still in the NHL back on the ice. And so you've seen Pittsburgh trend over because of an improved offense, a declining defense. I think Boston will find the back of the net tonight. They've talked about kickstarting their offense, shooting the puck more after getting shut out by Columbus. They felt they passed up too many good chances the other night against Columbus. So I think Boston will score tonight. Pittsburgh will against a goalie in Halak that is just really lacking confidence at this point in time. Pittsburgh on a 4-0 overrun. And you look at head-to-head series history, by the way, 10-2 to the over in the last 12 head-to-head meetings between the Penguins and the Bruins. You don't necessarily expect these two games to be involved in a lot of shootouts, but that's been the case. 5-1 to the over the last 6 meetings in Boston alone. 10-2 to the over the last 12 meetings head-to-head overall between these two teams. So, and I also, by the way, the other bet I made in this game was Pittsburgh money line. I just think it's a good plus price for a team that's surging. Boston, again, don't be scared to bet against Boston right now. They're definitely got some issues. They're definitely struggling with blowing third period leads, getting shut out in games. There's been a little bit of everything that could go wrong for the Bruins in recent games. So I like Pittsburgh money line, but to make for the official play of the day for me on this Thursday, it'll be Pittsburgh Boston over 6 plus 104.
I love it. I actually bought the hook. I took it at 5.5 in case it ends up being one of these 3-2 games where you need an empty netter, but absolutely agree with what you said, and taking it at the slight plus money on 6 for a 3-3 game is a great play. I was going to add, I'm also on the Pens over 2.5, team total over 2.5, which I think has phenomenal value for a lot of the reasons you just named. You mentioned that there's been a string of 4 goals, a few of those, I think empty netters or overtime, or maybe a couple of them, but for 3 goals, absolutely just so much value there. And I didn't mention the article, actually, the defensive numbers for Pittsburgh. I was on the Minnesota team total the other night, and it did get there in the end, but it felt like it could have got there sooner. Like you're saying, with the holes. And sometimes that happens, when key players go out, team plays tighter. And when players return, they loosen up a little bit, and that sort of trend does not surprise me at all. And you've got a Bruins team who I think you mentioned after their loss to the Flyers were sort of yelled at by the coach, and
they played much better defensively. That was a defensive spot all the way the Columbus game. Yes. Yeah. Now it's an offensive spot because I think and they'll want to get that goal scoring back. Yeah.
But my only point there is the Bruins are well aware that they are not playing to their full potential right now. And so I mentioned in the article, they can absolutely win this game. I'm heavy on the Pittsburgh side for this game, but let's not pretend like this is, going to continue trending, for infinity with Bruins slumping, Pens, surging. So it's I like it. I think the over is one of the better plays on that game. I wanted to buy the hook just for that 3-2 kind of situation. If somehow Boston struggles to score, Pittsburgh struggles to score. So all right, Ian. And I'm glad that's all I wanted to say.
I'm just looking at the recent meetings, and 4-3, 4-3, 6-5, 8-4, 2-1. 5-3, 4-2, 6-4. 6-4 was the previous meeting this season between the Bruins and the Penguins, and it was in Boston as well. 6-4. Halak was in that game, by the way, for the Bruins, and he struggled there too against Pittsburgh when he faced them earlier this season. And again, his current form is not good. His last start, if you remember, was Winnipeg at home last week, and that was a 5-4 game. It was up and down affair and flew over the total. So, definitely like the over. That's going to wrap up our video. To recap, let's try to keep this good run that we've got, both of us simultaneously. We're on a good run with these. Hopefully we keep it going tonight. Adam likes Columbus plus 134 against Kakalaki, and I like Pittsburgh Boston over 6 plus 104 for the play of the day on Thursday, January 16th. That'll wrap up the show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, watching, and supporting us. We will be back Saturday, 10:15 a.m. Eastern, with the next edition of the SBR NHL Double Play of the Day video. For Adam Booth, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Good luck on the ice, and we'll see you again on Saturday.